Hi everybody, today we had a wonderful conversation with Michelle Ward, who's building a team at Preferred Shore, and Merle Shetler, a realtor who recently joined Michelle's team. We talked about team building and leadership, and there's a lot of great nuggets there. I think you'll really enjoy this as much as I did.
Welcome to the Preferred Shore podcast. Here's your host, Robert Milligan.
Hi everybody, we're here today with Michelle Ward and Merle Shetler on the Preferred Shore Real Estate Podcast. Welcome, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, and of course, with us, I know the conversation can bounce all over the place, and it's okay if it does. But I thought that with you specifically, a lot of people would like to know about team building, about some of your philosophies on leadership. So, and maybe we could start with just a little background about each of you. So, ladies first, maybe Michelle.
Okay. So I've been in real estate 6 years. Started out, I joined a bigger team. That didn't work out very well. I was there for a couple years. Decided to join a company that basically a 100% company and did very well. However, I saw the benefit in joining a group, a team, which that's where Preferred Shore came in. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of things that a team can offer. It just depends what you take of it. And I've had partners in the past, and they've been great people. However, the team aspect of things, it's just a little different. Mm-hmm. So my broker encouraged me to start my own team because with the children and being able to travel and just having so many deals going on, and it's exciting. I mean, real estate is really exciting, and that's what it should be. You shouldn't be worried about how am I going to take care of this, how am I going to take care of that, mm-hmm. and rather than rely on a partner, because it's really hard to put two different identities together, mm-hmm. Have a team of people, that you can have help. So that is really where this started with me, and it's going well. Mm-hmm. I like to be able to offer all of the things that I feel is, necessary to move forward. Mm-hmm. But that's kind of the short end of the story on where this came with building a team.
I see. Awesome. Mm-hmm. And I do remember encouraging you to begin to start a team, and mm-hmm. that has, as you said, that's worked out really well. I'm really proud of all your achievements so far, which we'll get into in a little bit. But first, Merle, a little bit of background.
So it was February of 2018, so it's been a year and a half, just over, that I've had my real estate license. Mm-hmm. First year was, pretty good year, and this year's not been too bad. Mm-hmm. So, but before that, I sold swimming pools and for a long time, mm-hmm. And that's kind of actually really helped me in the beginning of real estate.
Absolutely.
But I love the fact that I can help people probably make one of the most important or biggest purchases of their life, a lot of them.
Yeah, definitely.
It's just good to be part of that process and enjoy what I do.
Yeah, well, one of the reasons I was inspired to work with you when you began your career in real estate was your entrepreneurial background with the sales development in pools and things, because I've noticed that people often have a hard time transitioning from, a standard employment job type of a scenario to suddenly becoming an entrepreneur, because in real estate you can of course just spend your day however that you'd like, and that can be productive or that can be completely non-productive. Yeah. So that was one thing I thought would be a great easy transition for you, would be to go from one sort of sales to another, and mm-hmm. it definitely has been a good transition. Yeah,
for sure. Had I not sold swimming pools, it would have been a lot tougher, because mm-hmm. I remember going from more of an hourly or salary-based income to just sales and commission, and that was tough. It was very tough. Mm-hmm. It was scary when the bank account got low, and you couldn't go into that mode of fear, because then you couldn't sell anything, and mm-hmm. and you had to stay inspired and motivated and excited even when you didn't have any money. So that carried over. That mindset that was developed in selling pools has helped me a lot in real estate.
Yeah, so, and I'd like to ask about, you have worked as an independent agent, in a sense. You're always connected to a group here that you do have some resources available, but you've been independent and you've also been on a team, and maybe is that part of the benefit of being on a team? When you're feeling low, you've got good people surrounding?
Yeah, I think, yes, absolutely. I love to feel like I belong somewhere, and just that I have other people that I can, build a relationship with, that I work with. And it's also, being a newer agent, I think one of the biggest issues probably for most new agents is just leads. Amount of, where's your business coming from?
Yeah.
And so that's another benefit of being a part of a team, is maybe sharing in some leads, and like we do. So definitely a big plus.
Yeah. Do you feel, Michelle, like there's any advantages to being a solo agent versus being part of a team, or vice versa?
The being a part of a team, it's nice, and that kind of goes back to the whole partner thing. A lot of people think it's great to have a partner. You want to bounce things off, but and all reality of it, a team is 10 times better. And I say that because we all have different personalities. We all have different ideas, and it's a good time to bounce things off, or come up with an idea. This property isn't selling. What can we do? Or, I'm really dealing with this horrible client. Oh, well, let me help you. Maybe I have a different spin on it, or different personalities. And that's another way you can refer business. You may be too busy, or you may have a client that you were introduced to, and you don't have the personality that you just know it'll be a train wreck, because we've all had them.
Yeah.
And it's easy to say, you know what, hey, let me hand off this client to you. I think you'll fit. There's a lot of clients that prefer to work with men or women, or whatever it may be, and you have this tight-knit group of people working towards the same goal together rather than separately. And the way that I look at it is at the different brokerage that I was at when I first started, I walked into the office and I felt that everybody was looking at me. Like they're against me. I did not feel that we were colleagues, that I could ask them for any type of guidance. And especially being a new agent or moving here from another state or something like that, I don't think that's beneficial towards the person. I mean, there's some people that may be, tough skin and can take that and they just run with it, and kudos to them, but most people, they're not.
Right.
So walking on a team and being able to just discuss openly, and if there was a fly on the wall to some of our meetings,
Yeah, they're pretty open.
Yes, the things that are said, but the benefit to working with a team is you truly do have, if you're on the right team, you truly do have somebody that will guide you, that will give you advice, that will actually pick up and work for you and not take a dime from you for doing so.
Yeah,
and
that's really
it's
nice.
really important.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to congratulate you on your success. You were the top producing realtor at Preferred Shore last year with a bit over $7 million in volume, I believe, and you're tracking to outperform that significantly this year. And I'm trying to remember, do you recall exactly when it was that you started your team? Because I don't think that there was much of that volume was team related last year. I think that was all pretty much solo.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. When was it that you started the team?
I started, I want to say, this new group team that we're talking about, that's recent.
Yeah, I mean,
So
a few months
August,
maybe? Yeah,
August 1st is really,
Okay.
I put into place a lot of things August 1st. Over the summer, I took, I took the time to build business in Chicago as well as this team. So I put a lot of things in place because my outlook on it is yes, anybody can form a team.
Sure.
You could have a group of agents working underneath you. Obviously on a team there's some kind of a split because you're supposed to be giving something to these people that are working on your team, whether it's knowledge, whether it's leads, whether it's all of the above. And my thing is I want to make sure that the agents that want to join the team, that I'm giving them something, whether we're going to new construction or contract classes, leads, all everything that I can think of that I would want as an agent to help. That's what I wanted to be able to give the team once it's developed. And it's crucial and it's beneficial for the success of that, especially new agents coming in. However, I have agents that are talking to me that have been in the business, and it's just because of personality. They enjoy being able to pick up the phone and just, call me and ask a question.
Sure.
And I don't have all the answers, but that's the thing, is I'm not afraid to get them. I'm not afraid to go in front of whomever it is, whether it's a buyer or a seller, and take on the problem at hand. And so, I think thus far, although it hasn't been long, but everybody seems to be very happy with what they're getting. And I always, what can I do for you guys? What do you guys need? What do you think will be beneficial? Because I feel like I have to be giving them something. And the more successful agents I have on the team, the more successful I am.
Yeah, definitely. And I think you're a brilliant leader, and that's primarily why, is because it's from a place of being a servant to make sure that there's equitable value flowing from you down to support all the members of the team. And I'd be curious, Merle, what are some of the things that are most important to you to receive from the team?
Well, my relationship with her, just in working with her since I started here, is it's been one of trust and valuing. I really value her opinions. I when she tells me something, I know it's the truth. I believe her. And I think it really, a big thing for me is the trust issue, or the trust thing, that factor.
Are you getting leads now? Are you developing those on your own mostly? Or?
I am getting some leads, working those leads. But I guess what I'm kind of going to is just I wouldn't probably join just anyone's team.
Yeah, understood.
And
That's
the qualities that I
wise.
see in her are great qualities. So
yeah,
no, I'm excited, and I think I remember when I first started, I read an article that a lot of very successful agents started out as a new agent on a team. And I don't know, do you know anything?
I do, yes,
Yeah.
and that is a great path. It's essentially mentorship to be connected to somebody to start out, because I feel like, and this isn't my show, this is your interview, but I think it's important to mention relative to teams and new agents coming on that if an agent is brand new and they feel like they're inadequate or unqualified to take on any account, any listing, that's going to definitely stifle their progress as they develop their business. And so being part of a team, you can put yourself out there a little bit more and just be authentic and say, I don't know all the answers, but I'm connected to this group who I can rely on, and I can text them and get a response in 30 seconds. So if I'm ever in over my head, we have everything that you need. So from that vantage point alone, I think just as a confidence builder, being connected to people, I think it's critical for a new agent to be connected to somebody, maybe not a team, but there definitely are lots of new agent success stories that begin on a team. Yeah.
Yep. That's I can see why.
Yeah. Is there anything else that comes to mind that you enjoy receiving value-wise from the team?
I think the camaraderie, again, just going back to feeling like you're a part of a bigger, something bigger than just yourself. And I want to contribute something too.
Sure.
If I can, even though I'm a new agent. So, but definitely there to learn, there to grow, and do what I can to help the team grow, just like Preferred Shore. Want to do everything I can to help this company any way I can. So
yeah,
because I figure if I help the company, then the company helps me, right?
That's how it works. Or the team. It's wonderful. Yeah, so Michelle, what are some longer range visions or plans for the team? Do you have kind of a structured idea, or are you letting it just kind of more organically go? Or
No, I think I'm more on the end of more organically letting it go. My goals for the team, I'm not looking for a team that people jump on, jump off. That's totally not it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to create something that's really exciting. A lot of people in real estate, we have a time and a place to be serious. However, real estate's fun. You can have so much fun, doing any kind of PR things. It's all of what you make it.
Right.
And that's just like an attorney's office or anything. It's not just real estate, where everything is what you make of it. And I don't want to be that stuffed up team. We're going to be very successful. We're going to be on edge. We have all of the things here at Preferred Shore that allow us to be a lot different than most of the other teams and most of the other agents. But you know, when the agents come in the office and they're around, it's all about, you know, helping them, but at the same time having fun, because what happens when you're having fun? You forget about, you know, these little things that are bothering you. You just have to pay attention to the bigger picture. And I feel like if everybody can kind of let go of the worries, you know, I got to really figure out how to avoid, I don't know, something to do with inspection or something like that. They're going to be able to produce more during their day. They're going to be able to get more done. And on top of it, you know, I mean, I can talk for myself. I've worked in an office where everybody's miserable, and you just turn miserable. And this is before real estate. And I think that's why in the past, I really don't come to the office to work with everybody, because I have bad experiences in a different setting in the construction industry. And it's like, why do I want to be here? And then you have no motivation. And my motivation for anybody on the team is just quite the opposite. You know, come in, let's have fun, we can joke, and let's sell some houses, because that's the goal.
Well, a word that hasn't come up yet that often does with teams is culture. And is culture something that you think about creating, or is it just something that comes automatically to you? Because, I mean, that's what fun is essentially, it's just team culture.
No, I think it's, you know, my personality, and it's funny because we were just talking about the personality test, but with my personality, it's, you know, I don't want anybody to be unhappy. And really what you put out there is what everybody's going to give you back. Just like, you know, people say karma, that's huge right now. One of the things for our team right now is hustle. Now, we hustle, but we all have fun, and people are following it. So a lot of people now I hear outside of our team, you know, hustle, hustle, hustle.
That's great.
So, you know, I want people to say, and this is like even with clients, you know, likability. You know, I want to be like them. And that's what I want everybody saying is, I want to be like them. They're producing, but they're having so much fun doing it. And then, you know, then it keeps following.
That's people like you work with people like us.
That's
how it goes. And tell me a bit more about leads, because I know you have a few different lead sources, and maybe you could talk about the sources a little bit, but also what I'm most curious about, and I think others would be also, is if there's a method to how you assign leads to people, if it's like just random round robin, or if you try to match personalities. So maybe you could share some of your philosophy about leads.
So there are a few different ways. One, what I'm trying to do is referrals coming into me personally. So I've been in it long enough now that things are starting to come back around, and I do. I don't believe in just putting the agents on a specified, it's this person's turn, and just going down the list, because it'll revert back to what I said earlier. Everybody's personality doesn't click. So I make sure that everybody has an opportunity, whether it's with this lead or the next lead. Same thing with the lead generation system that we have. I look at the area, because we're working from Dunedin all the way down to Fort Myers. So some of the people on the team, they're willing to go up to St. Pete. They're willing to go up to Tampa. Some are not. Some are willing to go all the way down to, you know, whether it's Gasparilla, Venice. Some would prefer to stay Lakewood Ranch. So I take in consideration all of these thoughts and who they are. And I always try to feel out the leads if I have the opportunity to talk to them first, to see, you know, what type of people they are. Because if I can match up that lead with the right agent, it's a sale. And that's, you know, it wouldn't benefit me to give Merle a lead, say, in Orlando, when it's really not his area. He really doesn't want to travel that way, and which means his response rate may not be as quick as another agent that deals in that area. So for my pocket and for the agent's pocket, it's beneficial for me to match them up with the correct leads. Now, there's some that come in that I don't have the opportunity to talk. I just see what they're looking for, and I give the agent that's next in line in that area.
I've definitely noticed, you know, with tens of thousands of transactions, that everybody kind of rhymes with certain personalities. And, of course, some customers are very detail-oriented, and they appreciate all the little nuances of everything, and they want you to go through every line of the contract. And other customers just want you to just get them to just initial where they got to go and sign where they need to sign and get out of there in 5 minutes. And so, like you said, sometimes it is just assessing the personality and matching that sort of agent with that sort of customer.
Right.
Merle, I'm curious, is there a particular type of lead that you seem to prefer, or, like be it internet or open house encounter, or what's your favorite type of lead maybe?
Well, my favorite lead is a personal referral or someone that, someone that I maybe knew a little bit or know of. I tend to do better in the warm market.
Sure. I think that's fair to say for most people.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
And it's also my comfort zone, obviously.
So I have a theory, though, that, and not to disagree, of course, with what you're saying, because I think that warm market is certainly ideal, but whenever you turn the corner from your warm market and you're cultivating business from people you don't know, that's where it really becomes most business-like. And so, so for maybe of those avenues, is there a particular lead source that you seem to prefer or do a good job converting?
Yeah, so I did pretty well last year with a few Zillow leads.
Okay.
And I think give me any well-qualified lead, I think I can convert them.
What's the first step? Because, with you get an email and a phone number and an email address maybe, what are you trying to close on in the first encounter?
Want to find out how quickly they're wanting to move, whether they're pre-qualified or not, how, what kind of a priority is this? Are they just looking? Because if they're just looking, then,
are you trying to meet them in person
for
as
sure.
quickly as possible?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay. So I would have a few questions for them in an email, and then meet them in person, find out what they're looking to do, and try and satisfy that need or want as quickly as possible.
Yeah. Michelle, what do you think? What lead source would you prioritize right now for the sake of building the team? Is there a particular lead source that you think is most important, or is it always kind of a moving target?
I think it's really a moving target. I think every agent is different in what they're comfortable doing, the clientele that they're comfortable, dealing with. And I have some agents on the team that are loving the expireds. They want to go after expired listings. They really know that they want listings, and that is their main focus. Some agents that their personality, I don't think that they're necessarily fit for buyers, but they still have to break that ground to create some income. So what I try to do is just deal with each agent individually and try to work and figure out the kinks that they need to fix in order to be successful. And a lot of it is your first impression with these leads. As everybody knows, the leads are, I don't know, maybe an 80% chance that they're not even a lead, coming in from some of these systems. A lot of people haven't had a great turnout with Zillow. Zillow had gotten a bad name from a lot of agents just because they're, people are in Zillow looking, they call you just because they want a quick answer. But the result of that, on my opinion, is because we have so many agents out there that their quick response time isn't there. And we were just talking about this, about communication. Most everybody knows an agent or has a friend that knows an agent.
Right.
There's so many of us out there. So right now, especially when the market is hot as it is, it's critical for each agent to be able to produce the information that any client wants and to be able to pick up the phone and call them.
Yeah.
We've gotten into texting and emailing. We can hide behind that screen, but I think the agent that picks up the phone first, they win.
Yeah, I totally agree. I've got a buddy actually that he's a young man, and I'm guilty as anybody of texting most often, but he's a young man that he calls all his buddies whenever they text him. He just calls them right away, and I just think that's cool. That's a lost art,
You know what? That is, absolutely. I would agree with that.
Yeah, curious, and again, a with the leads, there's
Right.
a Winston Churchill quote that I really like, that success is going from failure to failure with no loss of enthusiasm. And I think that's an important mindset, especially as it comes to cultivating leads, that, like you said, there probably is an 80% chance that every lead encounter is probably not going to amount to much. But if that's
Right.
your expectation before you begin,
Right.
you won't convert the good ones
Right.
either. So you have to expect something good every single time you pick up the phone or send
Yeah.
an email. So
Right.
it's very, very good.
Yeah.
I'm curious too, in terms of structuring the team and things, are there any specific requirements or performance requirements or,
A big requirement is, do you fit within the team? We
Right.
don't want any bad eggs or apples, whatever
Mhm.
you want
It's
to call
important.
them. Personality, yes, we are all different, but we are all the same, at least on the team.
Sure.
Sometimes you do not realize that until they're there,
Right.
and then you kind of got to weed them out. But no, I mean, we want everybody to hustle, and everybody's hustle's different.
Right.
I don't necessarily want an agent just to come on the team just to be fed leads, to say I'm getting leads but not turning them. Like I've told and anybody that sits at the table, if you're turning the leads or if you're working them, and working them is a huge thing of it, then you'll get more.
Right.
We don't want the agent coming on that just wants to sit on them and not do anything with them. And everybody brings value in some way. I know that in the aspect of the team, I'm the team leader, but I don't look at myself as that. We're all equal, and we're
Right,
all
right.
there trying to get to the common end goal. And if I can teach somebody something, or I learn something from the agents every day.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, and a lot of it's patience.
Sure.
I think I've heard that the most since I've started real estate is you have the knack because of the patience that you have, and I think that's why I do so well. Although the team wasn't my whole outlook,
Sure.
but I think that's where I differ from a lot of people. Is I have the patience, and I want to see them succeed. It's not about my wealth; it's about your wealth. Because if you're wealthy, I'm wealthy.
Yeah.
You
It's very symbiotic. It's nice.
That's how it works.
So I know, so it doesn't sound like there's any super hard requirements, but is there maybe a better word would be like a loose expectation? Do you expect people to generally be available for a few open houses a month, or, anything else like that? Expectation of a certain amount of time making calls or anything like that? Yeah.
No, I mean, and I'm going to follow that up with kind of my philosophy of things. I know a lot of people, their requirements are open houses. We'll start there. I am not a fan of open houses, to be honest. That is a way to get leads. I don't want to give my sellers the false hopes that their home is going to sell in an open house. I think statistically the chances are 5%. So when I take a listing, I say, if you want us to do open houses, I have the agents, we have the team, we'll do the open houses, we'll push everything that we can.
Sure.
If you don't want them, fine.
Right.
Right. So, I expect the people on the team to be working.
Right.
And I guess I don't have a set handbook that says I want you working 2 hours a day calling expireds, although that is the hope. 2 hours a day, sitting down, calling expireds, reaching out to for sale by owners, doing open houses to get those buyers leads, because again, the more successful you are as an agent, the more that's going to come your way.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
What's one of the things, Merle, that you most often spend your time on a day-to-day basis in terms of prospecting?
Yeah, so probably in terms of prospecting.
Yeah. Where do you allocate your time for prospecting specifically?
Yes. So my first year and a half, I've spent that time going through the contacts that I have and just more or less like the lower hanging fruit, you
Sure.
could say. Developing the relationships, the existing relationships that I do have, and also, still working the leads that I've had that are taking time to convert or whatever. But probably spend more time going through my sphere of influence, making sure everybody's taken care of. If there's any real estate needs in my sphere, I want to take care of those first.
So my perception is that you've had a pretty good track record of identifying a real customer versus somebody that's just kind of playing around and then filling the order.
Yeah.
So is it fair to say maybe that instead of prospecting as much as some people do, that you just identify a handful of people who must move, and
Yes.
then you spend your time
It's
filling
very
the order?
accurate.
Okay.
Yeah, I tend to be very specific and intentional.
Can attest to this. Very specific. And I've seen you fire customers. Not anything dramatic that would be off-putting to anybody, but basically not burden yourself with a
Right.
project that wasn't inspirational or motivating to you
Right.
to get involved in, and which I thought was very unique, because most agents coming into the business, they want to just get involved in anything that could lead to a paycheck someday. And I watched you walk away from a lot of customers because you were waiting for somebody more specific that matched what your vision of how this is all going to work out would be.
Yeah.
And it served you very, very well.
I think you could say that I work on conserving my energy.
Mm-hmm.
Does
That's
that
a
make
fair
sense?
thing. Well, my dad, when I was younger, worried that I would be very lazy, because I didn't, but over time he realized I'm an efficient expender of energy.
Yes. If I feel like I'm wasting my energy on something that maybe will cost me more trouble than what it's worth, the paycheck's not going to be large enough to cover the trouble that I'm going to have to deal with, or challenges or whatever, I tend to move on to something that I feel I'm going to get a return on.
Right. And
So
I don't get the sense that there's any angst, though, if Michelle puts a lead in front of you and it turns out to not be a super qualified lead, and you're just like, I don't want to do this one. I don't get the sense that Michelle's over there cracking the whip like, Merle, you need to take it.
well, like a lot of the leads that she's given me have been longer. They're looking in a year from now. Most of them 6 months to a year, I would say, or at least 3 months. And usually it's like I get a response. I mean, I just got one yesterday. Not looking, or just looking, thanks. Not at this time, whatever it was. These are people that just kind of are longer term prospects.
Are you keeping detailed notes about these interactions?
Yes. The only thing, sometimes there will be a phone call that's not logged, but
Right.
for the most part, everything is logged in the system, so I know what's going on.
Yeah. Have you given thought, Michelle, to like a reassignment process if maybe Merle does have an encounter that he's not loving, but made some good notes so somebody else can pick it up? Is there a process for that so far?
There is, and what we're trying to do is, in the midst of this, I've hired an assistant. So if it's during her working hours, she'll try to contact the leads first, just to scrub them. It'll save them time. I think it's a benefit for any of the agents that they end up getting, that particular lead, and. So we try to do it that way. If things aren't moving, we can see in the system. We can see the last time the agent touched this lead. We can see the last time they've responded, to where we're still helping the agent out, but either myself or my assistant will reach out and just try to contact the lead, because it's a different number, it's a different email address, whatever it may be. One of the things that's up and coming, we're going to do a meeting this week, that we're all going to just sit down at a round table and say, okay, these are the leads we have. Let's work them together. Do you want to try to call this one? And just kind of, the difference with these leads are they're not just coming from Facebook. These are people that are actually Googling something and wanting to look at, a home in this area. Well, as well as I do, is when somebody Googles something, you're thinking about something. It's actually in your mind. You're not just scrolling through Facebook and say, "Oh, pretty house. Let me click on it."
Right.
So the thought process I have is in their mind somewhere. They're thinking about moving.
Right.
And so I'm guilty of it too. When somebody, telemarketer, calls me or emails me or texts me, I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not interested. Okay, but eventually they may crack. So, I don't have a very abrasive mindset to, conquering these leads. There's a lot of agents that do. That's totally not me. I'm a little bit different in the way that I go forward with things, and that's because I don't like that on me.
Right. You
So-
said that you want to have fun every
Yes.
day. So
Yeah,
that
well,
doesn't
right?
sound like any
so I'm on
fun
the
at
beach,
all.
with margaritas. No, just kidding. But a little bit more softer approach, and the chances that you're going to win them over, again, to me, they're higher.
Right. I do agree.
Yes, I couldn't agree with that more. I mean, again, I'm a newer agent, but I think that attitude is why I'm a part of her team.
Yeah, I agree.
Because if somebody's pushing me all the time, watching
Yeah.
over me,
I don't
forget it. I'm not going to be a part
Probably
of it.
not going to work. It's definitely not going to work with you. But
Maybe that's a bad thing.
no. Well, it's funny. We don't have to name names, but you paid a pretty significant sum for a coach when you were brand
Yeah.
new, just kind of looking for figuring out which direction, and maybe you could just share the overall experience with the coach, not naming names, but yeah.
Yeah. So the coaches were, obviously great people, very, very successful. They knew exactly what they were doing. And I think these coaches have helped a lot of agents and do help a lot of agents. For me, though, it was not a fit for my personality.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of tough talk, pushing you, and that my motivation is primarily internal.
Mm-hmm.
I am not motivated by external forces or somebody giving me a speech. I'll be motivated the
He's out.
opposite way. I am, I'm going to walk because I think I value being in a place with a good attitude and enjoying what I do.
Right.
And I don't know. Maybe I'm a strange real estate agent, but I want to have fun, like she was saying. I want to have fun. I want to work with somebody who I like, and I don't want to be, watched over and told what to do all the time.
Right.
Because it's not going to motivate me.
Yeah, well, having fun is a conscious decision, and there's no reason that it doesn't need to be fun. And I think being miserable is a conscious decision too.
Let me just answer.
Yeah.
I didn't really answer your question. Kind of went on a bunny trail. So this coaching program was really a lot of great information. There's, I think, more of that external motivating factor that comes with that, and meant for people that are motivated by that. It didn't do that for me. It kind of actually took the wind out of my sails a little bit, and that has nothing to do with these coaches not being great coaches. It was a difference in our personalities and that sort of thing. But it did pay a lot of money for that.
Yeah, I'm much the same way myself, and it's not to say that there's any one size fits all for anybody. We're all different people, but I definitely observed when you were new to the business, you were on a pretty good roll with how many eight cash transactions in a row, I want to say, in a matter of 3 months or 4 months maybe.
Yeah, 4 or 5 months, eight or so. I think about 2.5 million or something.
I'll tell you what, every time I saw you, you were just beaming with a big wide smile and having fun, and then you hired a coach, and then
honestly it changed.
And it changed.
It did.
You weren't having fun anymore, and
I was not having fun anymore.
Results changed. You weren't selling as much real estate despite the coach. So it's just interesting.
It absolutely changed my mindset, my focus, my daily activity. It changed everything.
Yeah.
And I'm still working on getting back to that, that place I was at mentally when I first got started, because I was in a different place. I hate to say it.
Well, I think you're well on your way.
I'm getting there.
Perceive that you're having fun again.
But I also learned a very valuable lesson and this is just me, but what works for another agent may not work for you or me.
Correct.
Whatever.
Sure.
I have to figure out where I fit in within the real estate community. How to go about it and how I can specialize within that community.
Yeah, it all comes down, of course, to the customers, because everybody gets hung up on looking at pretty houses in this business, and this business has absolutely nothing to do with houses or housing. It's all about people, because people live in each of these homes, and the relationships we have with those people are essentially how this business operates and how we thrive. So, and we all have different interests, and if you are being organic and having fun, you're interested in things that I'm not, and vice versa, and same with Michelle. And Michelle has beautiful daughters that are in cheerleading. I don't, and so she's going to have camaraderie with cheerleading families, and I won't, and vice, so we all have these things, and you just have to develop that and just be you.
Yep, absolutely.
So Michelle, I'm curious about your approach with listings, because I know there's a lot of different philosophies with teams. Sometimes there's a one single mega listing agent, and then the rest of the team, or if there's co-listings or agents are taking their own listings. How do you operate?
And many, top producers may scour when I say this, but, the team members within the team, if it's their listing, it's their listing. Now, if they're newer agents, I may co-list with them just because I'm going on the listing appointment with them, and I'm giving that warm, fuzzy feeling to the client. But I want the agents on my team to be able to have those sales under their belt. I know there's a lot of teams out there that, the team leader lists all of the homes, and they're the ones getting all of the benefit from the sales that are produced. Although that's great, however, to me, it means more to me to have a producing team and have them to be able to flaunt it themselves. I don't need to walk around and basically say, yeah, I'm top producer and I've sold 15 million. However, I couldn't tell you who owned that house because it really wasn't my sale. So that's the difference in the way that my outlook is I'm not going after this whole team thing to say, look at all of my sales. This is what I'm doing. I'm more going for, I want to have the impact on these agents, and the happier and more respected they feel, they'll stay on my team and I will benefit. And that kind of goes back with the coaching. The coaching, I've always been one to say, I don't know what you get out of it. Like, I've always been the self-starter. My own fire is what pushes me. And I know every single agent is different. So I have some agents that are totally like me. They don't need anything. There's some agents that need a carrot and say, hey, whoever does this first, I'll give them, $50 gift card. And there's some agents that constantly need the reminder every day. And it's up to me to identify those individual agents and their personalities and what it takes to make them successful. And really, that's my winning prize. I mean, we're all in it to make money, don't get me wrong. But if I can have them making money, I'm winning. I mean, I'm going to win.
What I just heard there was all indicative of exceptional leadership, truly, because developing people, giving them an opportunity to cultivate their own business, their own career, and then, of course, just being observant to understand your team. I mean, if you're thinking of this as an athletic pursuit, like a football team or a basketball team, how would you not know the attributes of your players, and cater to them? So, well done with very exceptional leadership, very impressive.
Yep. There's just a big difference between that and like managing a group, managing a team.
Well, and to be honest, so, going further back from real estate, my background is construction, project manager, right? That's tough. Okay, that's a lot of different moving parts, and I think that's where I owe all of this, because I've never thought of myself as a boss. It's everybody's equal, and especially working, and excuse me for saying this, with a lot of men out in the field. Okay. I'm a woman in a man's world.
Sure. It's unusual in construction.
Exactly. So it's dealing with each of them have such different personalities, and being able to step back and just assess. And that's real estate. To me, that's just real estate. You are the person, you're assessing what they want, you take them to get it. Then you're assessing whatever problems may come up, whether it's something to do with inspection or financing glitch or something like that. And you just have to kind of put yourself back and figure out how to get to the end goal. And that's the same thing I think about with the team, is how do I get them? I feel like if I have an agent on the team that hasn't done something, they haven't had a listing yet. It's my goal to get them a listing. Love so that. They can experience that. Because you know what? Even though they may not have had one, they may be the best listing agent ever, but nobody's going to know until they try.
Right.
So
Right.
it's easier for me to hand off this lead to somebody. Yes, I'm not going to be able to make that whole commission. And when I was meeting with another agent in Chicago, that's what he was asking me, because I think he was trying to figure out how to structure their team. He says, well, if you're handing over the lead, doesn't it bother you you're not going to get that entire commission?
No.
No, because I will still get a part of it,
Right.
but I am doing something and they're just going to produce more. You have to look at the end. Yes, it's not instant gratification. You're not going to have a big check in your hand.
Sure.
But if you keep those people happy, you're going to make a lot more from that person.
Absolutely.
No
Yeah.
doubt.
Yeah. I think you're developing people and leaders within your own organization, and I think that's why we get along well, is because I have a similar philosophy. It sounds altruistic and cliche, but really I do enjoy watching people grow more than even succeeding myself in my own business. But when you're doing the right thing over time with the right people and build it the right way, the outcome is pretty fabulous. So.
Right. And it's just like karma.
I don't think you can't go wrong.
No, I don't think so. And so that's what I always think. Well, would I want this to happen to me? Nope,
Right.
done, not doing it. I just have
Right.
that weird thing, like there's a leak in the roof. I'm not hiding it because you know what? The next house I buy, that thing's gonna fall down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and that's it. Is the whole team thing is creating a team you enjoy working with. Now, that doesn't mean going out partying every night or anything
No,
like
right.
that. It's and giving knowledge. We can all have fun. If we're happy, everybody does a 10-time better job.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a couple more questions, and we could probably start wrapping up. But so as the leader or the boss, which you're not comfortable with me saying,
Unless it's the boss.
how do you now spend your time in terms of, because your prospecting is probably a bit different now that you're nurturing a team. So
Right.
how do you spend the time in your day?
So this may come to a surprise to a lot of people. However, it's misleading when somebody says hustle or, they're badassery or,
Yeah,
whatever it may be. That doesn't mean you have to work 40 to 80 hours a week. As long as you, schedule your time wisely, and I think that's what Merle's saying, is don't spend your time on something that is not going to result in a sale or result in a connection. Some weeks, even with everything I do, there may be 20 hours that I work a week, and it's all about focus. So, I'm still doing expireds. I've hired an assistant to try to help me with a lot of them things. But, I'm still running buyers, so I'm still doing that sort of thing. But a lot of my focus now is taking care of what I can do to produce things for the team.
I was curious about if you still personally take buyers here and
I
there.
do.
If you,
I do. I enjoy it. I mean, the thing is with real estate, I don't look at it as a job, funny enough. I mean, it really isn't a job to me. And I think anybody can say that, whether it's real estate or whether it's being a doctor, whatever it may be. If you enjoy what you do, it's not a job.
Yeah.
It's a career.
Right.
And so I enjoy going to the houses and looking at them. I enjoy taking people out and goofing off with them because, again, going back to this is supposed to be exciting. It's a scary time to buy a house, but it's an exciting time. I mean, this is a huge step, and I want my buyers and sellers to feel that, like, don't feel this is a bad thing. Don't be nervous about this. I get that you might be taking on a bigger financial, burden for your family, but it's an investment. It's not a burden. And a lot of first-time home buyers, they're like, oh, but I don't know that I can afford the extra $100 a month, and I tell them, well, down the road in a year and a half, 5 years down the road, if you can't afford that, something happens, you lose your job, you can sell it.
Sure.
Right.
You
And
know,
it's in the
so-
meantime, I like to
yeah.
encourage people, it's forced savings too.
Right.
They're paying
Yeah.
down principal every month.
Right.
And,
Yeah.
there's a lot of
So-
advantages.
Yeah, so I mean, I still enjoy what I do. I enjoy teaching, I enjoy running the people, and it's the same thing with clientele. I may not be teaching the team, but I'm teaching them.
Right.
And I don't know, I really enjoy what I do, so I will not stop taking care of people. I still want to list houses and run buyers. It may be on a different scale.
Sure.
But I still plan on doing it because that's why I'm here. I like what I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm curious if anybody's watching this or listening to this podcast and they would be, curious if you're open to interviewing new team members.
Of
Are you
course.
are you hiring
Yes,
still?
if you got the hustle, we got the room. We're not trying to build, and I say we because my team we're a we.
Right, of
It's
course.
not an I, we're
Yeah.
a we. And we're not looking to build this huge, 30, 40, 50 person team. It just doesn't make sense. That's
Sure.
not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for people that want the same outcome that we're looking for. We have a different vibe. We're kind of, I want to say young and hip, but we just have a different way to present ourselves than some agencies. So we may not work for some people, but we may be very attractive to others. And if they have the hustle and they want to work and they want to be successful, yes, of course.
I love it. I have a saying that, relative to, instead of being a generalist where you're trying to appeal to everybody, find the smallest viable audience. And I think that was
Right.
from a Seth Godin book I read recently. But yeah, smallest viable audience. That's a powerful idea.
Right.
So I love that. So you are open to
Right.
hiring if anybody wants to reach
Yes.
out to you. And is there anything else that you'd like to add before we start to wrap up here?
The thing is, and it kind of goes back to a lot of maybe representation is a lot of people think you have to work 80 hours a week, and what I've been teaching, especially the newer agents, have somebody that with young kids. You don't. I mean, you can be very successful. I'm not telling you to make it a part-time job, but
Right.
if you manage your
Strategic.
time efficiently and you know what you want to do, like Merle with his clientele, you can be very successful with a minimal kind of output and reaching out.
Absolutely, yeah.
And that's what I'm trying to teach the team is we don't have to kill ourselves to be successful.
Right, and
We
that's
have to
very,
just be smart about
very,
it.
very wise,
Yeah.
because time will, work will fill whatever time that you allow for it. And a lot of it's just establishing the parameters of a relationship. And if
Right.
you allow people to text you at 11 p.m. and you respond, then they will, and next thing you know, you'll be burnt out. And, so, I mean, you can just define the parameters of the relationship, and there's nothing wrong with that. I don't work too hard after 5 p.m. or much on weekends myself. And,
Right.
there was a period in time, like I'm sure there was for you as well, that I did. I was an absolute workaholic, kind of building up. But then as
Right.
you learn the rhythms and the order of things, you can be strategic and bracket it in. So how about you, Merle? Is there anything you'd like to add before we wrap up here?
Yeah, well, I was just thinking when you were talking about being strategic and all of that, and the reason I'm so strategic is I do get burned out if I don't do that. And it's not that I'm lazy, it's not that I don't want to work. I do work, but I have to be strategic with the amount of energy I have every day because I only have a certain amount of energy every day.
Right.
Unlike somebody who's very extroverted, gain energy around people, I lose energy around people. And that is
can relate.
exactly why I'm strategic with where I spend my time and with who.
It's very, very well said, and yet you've found a great amount of success with the best still yet to come in real estate as an introvert. Which would you consider yourself, Michelle, introverted or extroverted? Have you done any personality tests?
I did, and actually Merle had me. We were talking one day in one of the meetings here at Preferred Shore, and I think I'm more of an extrovert than an introvert, but I'm not like an overly outgoing extrovert, if that explains it.
Yeah, that makes sense. And Merle, you know you're an introvert, as do I. People are sometimes surprised to hear that I'm an introvert because I am around people a lot, but it takes a lot out of me. You know,
Yep.
I have to go home and recharge.
Yep, totally. Yep. It's nothing for me to, if I spend 3 days just all out working 10, 12 hours a day, I'm probably going to take an entire day to recharge.
Wow.
If I don't, I lose motivation.
Yeah.
Something I got to do.
Yeah.
I've tried to change it. But it's just who I am.
Well, it's wonderful to be self-aware.
Yeah.
So Merle, if anybody would like to reach you, what's the best way? Is there social, phone?
Yep. Find me on Facebook, Merle Shetler, or call me 941-735-9802.
Okay.
Or you can email me at merle@preferredshore.com.
Great.
I'll do whatever I can to help.
Awesome. And Michelle, how can people reach you?
Phone number is 941-920-2460. I'm on Facebook, and you can email me, michelleward22@gmail.com.
Wonderful. And
Yeah.
just want to, again, reiterate how proud and happy I am to see the growth of the team and the leadership that you're employing and the way that you're developing your people. And I think it's just absolutely wonderful, and proud to see the way that your career's come along here, Merle, and a great first year, and now the second year is really starting to kick in, and just really excited to follow along and see what's possible in the future for you guys. And we want to thank everybody for watching and tuning into this discussion, and I'm sure we'll be visiting with everybody again before too long. Have a great day, everybody.
Live in the moment till I die.